Hi everyone and welcome to the Facebook live session. I'm Avanne Dubash. I'll be recapping the markets for you and talking about all of the movers and shakers in trade today. In fact, we're coming to you live from our brand new studios right here in Mumbai. So if you have any questions or queries, do send them in on this link and I will be monitoring it on the phone. And of course, do remember to share this video. Well, what a day it was for the equity markets. In fact, we witnessed a very smart move in trade today where we did see the markets see their best intraday move in the last 1 year. So that means since March 2017, this is the first time that we've seen this kind of a move. It was an absolutely phenomenal run for the equity markets, and you did have the Nifty, which shut sharp at 10,421. The Sensex was up a good 600 points at 33,917. So clearly the bulls were in control. It was a market breadth that was in favor of the gaining side. You had a lot of fervor as well for the broader end of the market. So the mid and the small cap indices as well, while they were muted for the most part of the session, they did manage to see quite a bit of gusto. Finally, we played catch up, and the mid and the small cap indices also gained. In fact, the mid cap index saw the biggest single day gain in the last 2 weeks. The small cap index also saw 1% rally by the time we shut shop. Well, let's run you through some of the sectoral movers in trade today. Barring PSU banks, metal was shining away in today's session. You had the energy sector that did very well. The overall banking sector as well was firmly in the green. Questions coming in from Tanveer about the outlook on the metal space. Well, interestingly, we just spoke to the Steel Secretary who said that there are no worries when it comes to the import tariff war. Do remember that the imports were raised on some of the key metals by the US President Donald Trump, and that could potentially create a tariff war. But as of now, the overall demand situation seems to be intact. And not just that, you know what? We've been talking to the biggest market voices on ET now, Shankar Sharma, Pulenju Veliad, Chris Wood, and there's a consensus view that there is a lot of potential in the metal space. So that is definitely one sector to watch out for. And yes, as I said, in trade today, it was the top sectoral gainer. We got questions coming in on the overall ADAG pocket, Reliance Infrastructure, Reliance Capital, etc. Can't really give exactly stock-specific views, but just want to say that in terms of the ADAG pack, if one had to cherry pick, definitely there is more potential for Rel Infra, given the fact that there is a lot of thrust being spoken about for construction, for infrastructure as a whole. Reliance Communications, on the other hand, though, it really seems to be struggling with its overall high debt position, the overall competition within the space. So if one had to look at the ADAG stocks, perhaps more potential in some of those names. You've got some of the top gainers in trade today in terms of individual sectors. Well, a lot of support coming in from the banking space as a whole. The Nifty Bank gained traction. You also had energy, which was firmly in the green. Lots of gainers, and it was only 3 stocks that were in the red in trade today. So you had lots of gainers in the form of Bharti Airtel, IOC, ITC was a smart mover today, Vedanta, Tata Motors, you had Yes Bank, all of those stocks shining away in the session. Hindalco as well as ICICI Bank all had a very smart run in trade today. And on the downside, as I said, it was literally a handful of losers. You had Tech Mahindra, which lost steam, and it was one of the stocks that was in the red. Let's run you through then some of the newsmakers in the session. Well, Andhra Bank was a stock that was beaten out of shape, and that's primarily a reason as to why the PSU banking index as well was a lone soldier in the red. The ED charged the former Andhra Bank director in a 5,000 crore rupees scam, so things are not looking good fundamentally when it comes to the PSU banking space. United Spirits was in focus today. A relief coming in as a decision for the inclusion of ENA in the GST has now been deferred, so a nice spike coming in. The stock had a field day, and by the time we shut shop, it was a good 5% higher on United Spirits. Send in any questions or queries, share this video as well. Meantime, check in on Coal India. That stock was under pressure. Actually, a lot of brokerages were fairly cautious. Morgan Stanley, for instance, maintained an underweight rating. They said that the target is at about 221 rupees per share. Take a look at the likes of Avanti Feeds, Apex Frozen, etc. The US Department of Commerce suggested a hike. This is in the anti-dumping duty, and quite significantly on Indian shrimp. So from the earlier 0.84% all the way up to about 2.34%. So that's going to come as a bit of a dampener. Meantime, you had lots of mid-cap movers, and as I said, you did see the market breadth turning in favor of the positive side. So even the mid-caps, which were languishing for the most part of the session, did manage to see a good leg up in trade. Mid-cap movers today included JP Power, you had a KRBL which was firmly in the green, MMTC flexed its muscles, NCC was up and about, JSL was active in trade today, and finally some respite coming in for the Adani group of stocks as well, so Adani Enterprises was fairly active. On the downside though, IDBI Bank really struggled, Bajaj Hindustan was in the red, I already told you about Andhra Bank, you had something like an Everready which was down and out, PFC as well as Wellspun. Well, all in all, to conclude, for the market, it was an absolutely marvelous Monday. We have the all-important IIP data, CPI data that's due later this evening at 5:30. Stay tuned to ET Now as we've got a galaxy of experts to dissect the numbers in greater detail. But more importantly, we've been talking to a lot of market experts and their views that the DII flow is perhaps going to be supportive of the markets. Earnings is going to be the next big trigger and that could see an outperformance. By and large, you could see a turnaround coming into the IT space as well as, digital is going to be the next big theme. A lot of the IT companies have been talking about this space. You have a lot of potential expected as well from the overall metal space as a whole. Well, what about IPOs, Ankanas? Well, it is 2017 has been a year where there have been IPOs galore. Lots expected as well in 2018. For instance, Bharat Dynamics is going to be listed tomorrow. It's going to be the world's first missile manufacturer to be listed on the bourses. In terms of valuations as well, stands at about 17 times, I think. So there is potential for a lot of the IPOs that are going to be hitting the markets. The IPO opens tomorrow and it's from the March 13th to the 15th. So that's going to be the next recent one as well. A view on AB Capital, Siddharth asks, well, I can't really give views on individual stocks as I said, but would have to monitor the overall financials of an AB Capital. There is quite a bit of potential in the overall sector as a whole. So yes, can look at an AB Capital from a long-term standpoint. Well, thanks so much guys for watching the video. We've had a pretty strong market run up and the view is that going forward you can brace yourself for volatility. But remember, we chatted today with Shankar Sharma as well. You can go on YouTube if you didn't manage to catch that interview. Go on YouTube and watch it. He said that there is a lot of potential in the mid and the small cap companies. Now is the time to look to buy them as well, as they are likely to be less hammered than some of the large cap peers. But it's going to be a volatile year for sure. So pretty much a strong day of trade today. We'll have to wait and see if the follow through comes up tomorrow, or was today's move just a flash in the pan. In the meantime, do like and share this video.